Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author podcast.
Hello, Achievers. This is episode 105 of the Next Level Author podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Sacha Black, and here with me every single week is...
Dan!
Hello, Dan. Can you hear the snow rat-tat-tatting against my windows?
Like a tiny bit. If you could make it stop, that'd be wonderful, because we're trying to record a podcast here.
Unfortunately, that seems to be outside of my powers and abilities. How's your week been?
With that attitude, it is. My week has been good. It's funny because every time we get sat down, I'm like, deliberately don't say weird week, but it hasn't been a weird week. It's been a nice week. I went away and had some shenanigans for my birthday. I've got some more shenanigans coming up this weekend. Had a fantastic time down in London, and that's pretty much the long and the short of it. Like, I'm in a good space at the minute with my business and with where I'm heading and things I'm doing. I'm still a little bit behind on my ghostwriting from where I want to be, but I'm catching up, which is good. And yeah, it's kind of continuing on from last week where I mentioned about, having made the decision to stop ghostwriting has unleashed a bunch of extra sort of creative energy. I have so many ideas, man. I have about 5 books in my head that I want to get to. I've got like 15 that I want to read. Like, it's been a while since I've kind of felt the pull again for fiction, just because of the slug of everything else. And when you are ghostwriting, and like, obviously, to put in perspective, like, I did a lot of books 2020, a lot of books in 2021. This year I'm about to finish book number 2, which is considerably slower paced for me, but it's still like a lot of work to do 2 full fiction books and a bunch of short stories and other stuff that I'm working on. So it got to a point where I felt almost like I had to, and I'm slowly getting to the point again where I want to, which is just a very nice mental switch. So yeah, there's not really much to tell. Like I say, it's just been birthday celebrations. I've been to the zoo, I've been to London, I've done lots of amazing stuff and seen some awesome people. And yeah, that's my week. How's yours? The calm before the storm. Go for it, Sacha. Unleash.
I literally don't even really know how to describe this week. The universe has been a bit of a cunt, really. That's probably about where I would say the level of this week has been. It's been really hard. Obviously, Atlas had COVID again last week. He went back to school, and then the school sent him home. So I lost another day. And then we've had one of our cars broke down. So I lost a morning dealing with that. And then Atlas got bitten by something, and we had to react quite quickly because I don't know what it was, but like his arm was swelling up and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So like we had, I was in and out of school like twice for dealing with Piriton and like antibiotic creams and whatever else. So I basically lost most of yesterday as well. And it's just like lots and lots of little things keep going wrong or are taking up large swathes of my working time. Like, none of this shit ever happens in the evening, right? When like I don't, like, I'm already tired and I don't, have to work or whatever. It always happens during the working day. So I'm quite grumpy, if I'm honest, about that. Like, and obviously, these things can't be helped, but like they do seem to come. Like, this year has been, don't feel like this year has been very productive given the level of things that have happened. So yeah, I'm not in the greatest of moods today. Yeah, but that said, we launched the Rebel Diaries, which was amazing. The live was so fun. Yeah, so that was good. Had a book bub yesterday as well, which was amazing. It was a free book. Well, the book was priced free. BookBub was not free. It cost a lot of money. And I think let me double check again, but like as of this morning, it was in excess of like 7,000 downloads, I think. And that was just on Amazon. Let me double check for you because the numbers are insane. I'm actually going to do a big report on it because it's been really interesting. So Amazon, so yesterday I had 7,079 free downloads, and this morning I've already had 272. But like,
congrats.
And you look at Kobo, and I had fuckloads on Kobo as well. I had 518 just on Kobo, and I've had another 74 on Kobo this morning. So anyway, I'm going to do like a full breakdown and rundown of like, but like I want to see what the long tail is like and what the read through is like. And I've also I've got more booked, so this is going to be like an on-running kind of report because I've got it for like the next 10, 11, 12 weeks, something like that. So we'll see what happens anyway. So that's been interesting. And that's probably the majority of my week. I am not in a good mood. That is probably the summary of my week. So there we go. Sacha's beautiful. Grumpy.
I'll carry the show. But also, what will be interesting, just before you move on from that bit, what will be really interesting from my perspective in that report that you do is also talking about like the switch from, because I know at one point you said about not going free with your books and what that kind of has, you said at a certain point that you didn't want to make any of your books free because obviously the value behind the books.
Did I mean non-fiction? Was I talking about non-fiction? Because I still
remember
feel
you
that
specifying.
I still kind of feel that way.
But...
I've always felt that way about non-fiction, unless I write something specifically with the intention of making it free. So I have got an idea for something that I want to do with non-fiction to intentionally make it free, but I don't want to make any of my textbooks free.
Gotcha. I must have misunderstood.
I think when I first started, like really early days with the fiction, I probably didn't want to make it free, but I was still really precious then. I'm not precious anymore. I am old and haggard and worn, and my soul is broken.
Go back and watch episode 1 and you'll see what she means. Also, before we move on, happy 2-year anniversary. That happened last week and we just flew by it.
What 2-year anniversary?
Of the podcast. Episode 104. 52 weeks in a year times 2. 2 years of Next Level Authors.
Oh, happy anniversary!
I had no idea until someone reached out.
Oh,
they're
darling,
like, 104 was 2 years.
We're so romantic.
What's 2-year anniversary? 2-year anniversary.
Oh, I love that.
Cotton.
Cotton.
I'm going to buy you a swab. Because that's appropriate for the last 2 years as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an earbud. There you go.
Yes.
Do we have a level up?
We have a level up. We have a bunch of level ups, which I'm very excited about. I went to someone that I don't think we've shouted out before. We've got a level up from Melanie Hemans, who says, I found a sensitivity reader, and that's a massive win for me. So congrats, Melanie. That's awesome. And I like it because we always specify big or small, throw them out there. A win is a win, and I love it. So thank you, Melanie.
Awesome. Patreon?
No new patrons, but if anyone who wants to get extra bonus awesome goodie stuff with me and Sacha and get all the episodes early, can head on over to patreon.com/next level authors. There's more than one of us.
Notices?
Yes. So I think I can't remember if I teased this last. I think I've mentioned bits and pieces. I have put up a page on activatedauthors.com for recruitment for my next round of mastermind. So the mastermind that I'll be running is essentially a 6-month program, which is a mix of group coaching and one-on-one coaching designed to help writers become authors. And it's the Writers to Authors Mastermind. And the thing that I love about this mastermind particularly, and this is sort of based off of my last cohort, is that quite a few masterminds will be very, very specific on, these are people that are writing their first draft. These are people that are publishing a book within this time frame. You get to pick your goal and I get to guide you. So it could be a marketing goal where you want to increase your brand and, work out your reputation, make everything cohesive. And I love the word synergy. I never used to, but I do now. And just kind of look at how you're representing yourself online. It could be that you want to finish that first draft and you just want some guidance from someone who's written over 60 books. It could be that you want to publish your book, but you're not sure about the mechanisms on how to publish. So the Writers to Authors Mastermind is over at activatedauthors.com/mastermind. And at the minute, there's a page there where you can register your interest, and all the information on what the program will include and everything else will be going up in the next few weeks.
Awesome.
Spaces
The
are limited.
Rebel Diaries Anthology is now live. So you should probably go and get a copy if you like Sapphic pirates, grumpy witches, sarcastic demons, if you like bitchy witches, if you like
That's fun to say.
raunchy circus leaders, narcissistic ex-celebrities. Yeah, we've got it all in the anthology. So yeah, go check it out.
I love it. Have you got that one in print yet?
It is in print, yes. Ingram, well, it's gone through draft to digital. So I think that's via Ingram, and it's doing the usual thing where it says it's out of stock, even though it's not, because it's print on demand. But yes, it is live.
Beautiful.
So yes. All right. What have you enjoyed this week?
My birthday.
That's a good thing to have enjoyed.
My birthday. Just, yeah, had a fantastic few days, and it's just been nice because I've managed to sort things out in a way that I didn't have to worry about work. And even the Activated Author Sprints had the wonderful Meg Cowley cover on some of those for me, and I'm sure she did an incredible job. Even went with a backwards hat just to, make sure that I was somehow present in the room. But yeah, it's just been an awesome few days.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
The live last night was very fun. Very, very fun. Everybody, there was 11 of us on the call. I've never done a live with that many people into Facebook.
Damn.
Yeah, it was fun. And I tell you what,
Puppet Master
Matt actually was the one who hosted. Like, Matt hosted all 3 of the lives. He did a fucking phenomenal job, and he came up with really fun games, and it wouldn't have been as good as it was without his kind of mastery of that. So yeah, big shout out to Matt.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, comments.
So last week's question, what are the biggest lessons you've learned from writing non-fiction? And we had a couple of comments. Cassie says, great episode and good timing for me, to be honest, as I run headfirst into non-fiction. And Shane, who was the asker of the question, says, thanks for answering my question, guys. Massively helpful as always. And he didn't say this specifically, but I saw on Instagram that he has a bit of non-fiction himself that's just gone live called the Write Better Fiction Key Beats, 9 essential story signposts cheat sheet that you can pick up by going over to SW Miller, I believe it is, on Instagram, and then going to the link in the bio.
Yes. Okay. So do we talk about the challenge now? And then we ask the question.
So we can talk about challenge. We've got it's the 31st of March as we record, so we have 15 hours to go.
Yeah. Okay. So Dan will dictate 2 novels, launch a survey, write 3 short stories, and launch a new podcast.
I will potentially have finished novel number 2 today. Because it's half term next week and I need to sort out time off for the kiddo. I have done 2 short stories. I have launched a podcast and I haven't launched a survey. So it is likely that the next time we record, I will have failed.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean there's a forfeit?
That means there will be a forfeit coming, I'm sure.
Oh, Dan, I do love you. Okay, Sacha will read a minimum of 5 Sapphic books. I did that. I think I've read 33 books this quarter. I won't get any more done. So yeah, that's how many I read this quarter. Implement outsourcing. I did that. Check off 5 things off the new business plan. I've checked off, I don't know, double or triple that now, I would say. So yeah, I am clear.
Nice.
Do we want to talk about next quarter or not yet?
We haven't got anything prepared for next quarter, have we?
No. Okay, let's talk about that offline.
Let's do that in the next episode, which we're recording back to back to this one.
So we still won't be prepared then. Excellent. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so question of the week.
Oh, bring it.
Okay, so this is a timely and selfish question, I'm afraid.
Therefore.
Next week is London Book Fair.
Ooh, okay.
So how do you make the most of in-person events?
Oh, wow. My brain just went to something as an instinctual answer. And then I was like, yeah, but you don't do that, do you? So I'm going to Chillicon at the end of May, which is the Horror Writers Association's first conference in the UK. And my and I'll say it because I believe that this to be true. Plan, look ahead at what's going on, because every time I'll get to a conference, I'll be like, oh, I know what's going on. I went to 20 Books Edinburgh and missed out on some amazing activities because I hadn't planned ahead for like the axe throwing and the steaks and all the drinks and things that people going to. Like, I found things to do, but I was like, I really want to go axe throwing. How do we get? And it was like on the day, and people were like, we booked this like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, oh shit, okay, never mind. So it's very, very worth looking through the schedule at what is there, what is going on, really trying to be specific on the things that you feel you'll get the most benefit from. Because there are quite a few different facets to go into a conference. Obviously, you've got what is presented in terms of talks, conferences, guests, or that kind of stuff, because that's where a lot of the very sort of formal nuggets of knowledge lie. You have the networking, which is obviously the massive second part of that as well, and just like the general inspiration that you get from being at those events is really, that will last you like a good few weeks. That'll top up the tank. But yeah, I'd kind of say start by looking at the schedule and seeing what there is, what you want to attend, because once you get there, it's very easy to get swept away and for time to go very, very quickly. And before you've realized it, you've missed X and you've forgotten about Y and all this kind of stuff. So make a game plan. Then try and find whatever groups, whether that's like a Facebook group or an email list or whatever it is, where people are talking about, like other attendees are talking about what they're going to do, who's turning up, so you can kind of get a feel of who's going to be there. Preferably, people that are around your genre, the interests and things that you love, and see if you can make some sort of connection before you go. Because even if you have like just a 2-line conversation with someone online, when you meet them in person, there's already like a connection there. I remember when I went to 20 Books London, and was that 2017? 2018?
I don't know. We were definitely still in the day job though.
It was 2018, because it was when I started doing Books with Michael. And there were a couple of people that I met there that was actually like, I saw your face on Facebook. And they'd seen my face on Facebook. And it was like, hey, now we know each other and we can talk. And it kind of just dispels some of that initial anticipation. When I went to 20 Books London, I knew no one except Paul Teague, who is a mutual friend of ours. And it was only because he randomly reached out a few months prior to invite me on his podcast, because he'd seen some of the stuff I was doing with the other stories. And because of that, I then, bless his heart, I stuck to him like glue for the first like 6 hours. Like, he knew lots of people, and I'm just like, hi, I'm just a parasite, hello. But then, as I say, through that, you start to look around the conference, you'll see different people whose faces you're familiar with. Like, I met Meg there, I met Claire there, and Ali, and Nat, and lots of different people. And just the thing to make the most out of it is talk to people. Like, it's sometimes, I get that it's hard to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and I get that it's sometimes intimidating just to walk up to a group of people and be like, hi, my name is blah 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 blah. Even for extroverts, that can be quite daunting. But I promise you that the people at this conference, especially writers' conferences, they're friendly, they're receptive, they're interested in you. And even for me, I remember that first big barrier to me was because I published a couple of books, and obviously the podcast was doing well at that point, but there was still that real imposter syndrome of like, these people are making like 6 figures with their fiction, why would they talk to me? But the thing that unites everyone is the love of writing and the love of publishing. And that made it easy just to step into those conversations, just to talk, to put yourself out there. And you only have this particular conference once, and you only have that experience once. So I find now that 20 Books London was incredibly different to 20 Books Edinburgh. And I'm sure that not 20 Books, I'm sure that Chilicon is going to be vastly different, because Chilicon is my first specific fiction horror conference. And there's lots of people there that I'm really excited to meet that, I've seen floating in circles for ages. Like, I'm staying in an Airbnb with a couple of other writers who I've spoken to online but never seen in person. And it's very, very exciting.
Oh my God.
What?
You're staying with people you've never met before?
Oh, I trust them. They're horror writers. Yes, I am.
A woman,
yeah.
I don't think a woman would ever do that. I would never do that. Stay with people I don't know. Are they male or are they female?
They're male.
Okay.
Lads. Yeah, that's me. But yeah, you're only at the conference once, and like the way to get the most out of it is to talk to people, but also on that, recognize your limits. Because what I discovered at both conferences is I thought I'd do the conference and I'd be up for like the drinks and all the socials with people. I got to the end of the conference day and I checked out. I was drained. So I was really glad to have a hotel room I could just go back to by myself for like an hour or two, just to like rest up before I went back out again, which was a strange realization for me at that point, because I was always like the little engine that could. And I guess the other thing that I'll add on this, because this still blows my mind every time I go to a conference. So to set the scene, you're in a room with 100 authors who have gone to this conference because they want to make it with their fiction, or they want to make it with their nonfiction, or they want to make it as an author. And there's a panel of 8 authors at the front who are doing the thing that you want to do, and they have made it and they are bringing in the income. And the host says, any questions for these people, put your hands up, come to the front of the room. We've got like half an hour to ask questions. I am always blown away that it's about at tops 10 people that will have a question to ask. And I'm like, you literally have the ultimate resource library there to ask any question that you want to help you and your fiction and your nonfiction. And you sit there and you don't ask those questions. Like
I don't ask questions because I can't think on the spot of the question.
Anything.
No. And so my advice would be, if you have high intellection, plan ahead. So if you've seen the schedule and you've seen who's on the panels and you've seen the topic, try to think ahead of the questions, because I can't do on the spot. That's why I have to prepare all my interview questions, because I can't think on the spot of a question to ask somebody. That's just not how my brain works. So I get that, but there is a way around it as well. You can have the forethought, because the other thing is, plan ahead. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to jump in.
Yeah, no, like because I'm always like, I love it because it means I just get to spam questions and I get to ask all the things that I want to know, because it's just like, I need this. But yeah, it just blows my mind, but that's helpful.
Okay.
Plan ahead, people. Big one.
So I asked this question because I threw myself into 20 Books London and met loads of people. And then I was very shy at 20 Books Edinburgh. And I left early every night. I didn't go to any of the socials.
No one really see you.
Didn't have dinner with anybody. I didn't have drinks with anybody. I mostly went to the toilet and hid during the breaks. And yeah, I was staying with my aunt, so some of the evening stuff I couldn't do because I had family obligations. But I don't feel like I made the most of 20 Books Edinburgh. Like, I didn't come away, I don't think, having spoken to anybody new. So I definitely did not make the most, and I didn't have like any new contacts afterwards. I spoke to a handful of people that I already knew. So yeah, and I really didn't make the most of that one, and I didn't want London Book Fair to be the same. And I can get quite socially overwhelmed. So I am trying very hard not to do that at London Book Fair. So what would I add to that? I mean, I don't want to go over the things that you've already said, because I agree with what you were saying about the planning. Like, the planning for me is the key bit, and the trying to make arrangements before you go. Because like going London Book Fair now, and I don't think London Book Fair is going to be as big this year as it has been in the past, but typically there are 25,000 people at London Book Fair, so you can very quickly get swallowed in the crowd and not talk to anybody. It's very easy to do that, because you can wander around there and clock up your 8,000 steps, because it's in this monstrous sized building and there's fucking loads of people, and there's like 2 floors, it's across 2 sets of rooms, there's like 4 massive areas, and that's only the areas that you can go in. Then there are other areas, and anyway, so I do think that looking at the schedule is important, and I think that for 2 reasons though. Not least because there's interesting information to go and learn about, but also because socially it gives you a breather, right, from the networking. So I book in the slots for the talks purely because I need quiet time and I need to not be talking to people all the time. The other thing that I do is I always go and scout out where the seating areas are when I first go into the building. It's one of the first things I do is I go and look for where are the areas where I can go and sit with my laptop, because I take my laptop to these events because like then if I need a brain break, I can just stare at my screen even if I'm not doing anything, no one will come up to you, right? Because you look like you're working. So this is like, and I sound huh?
I'd bug you.
Yeah, but you're different.
I just plunk down like Sacha.
Yeah. Excuse me. So that's another thing that I do is I look for where the toilets are and I look for where the seating areas are and I look for where I can get food. I wear flat shoes, I wear comfortable shoes because you will do a lot so like 20 books Edinburgh, we didn't do a lot of walking, but 20 London Book Fair is fucking huge, so you really have to go in comfortable clothing, comfortable shoes. What else do I do? Yeah, pardon?
Pack snacks.
Yes, that was also on my list. I pack snacks as well. And water, because you will do an awful lot of talking. So pack water so your throat doesn't like completely seize up. Another thing that I do is that I take headphones because it's very noisy as well, and I can get really oversensitized and just have to put headphones in just like literally it's like 1 or 2 songs and I'm like grounded and recentered. What else do I do? I try to book coffees in with people. So I always put a post on my Facebook so that I and say who's going so that I know who's going. And then like I try to slot in some coffees with people because that one breaks up the day. 2, that you have to, like this sounds terrible. This does sound terrible. I don't know if I should say this, but like if you get caught talking to people, there's another fixture that you have to go to. And sometimes you get caught talking to people and you want to stay talking to people, and other times you get caught talking to people and you want to leave. So like I book in things because it gives me an strategic. Yeah. I can't tell you the anxiety I get going to these events. Like socially, like it's really hard for me to go and do these events. And so I book in strategic coffees like filtered throughout the day, and I book them in at separate times to the talks, because then I've got like talk, networking gap, coffee, networking gap, talk, so that there's always something else back to back. And it is strategic and it is tactical to try and like save my energy. And to sort of, instead of being like 6 hours straight of talking to people, I've got like those breaks and stuff in between, so I am quite strategic about it. And
also people do generally leave you alone with coffee chats. I remember seeing trying to pen for Mark Dawson at 20 Books Edinburgh, just kind of sat there and everyone, like people were watching them, but there was like a respectful gap to allow them to talk.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, and then the other thing I would say is to try and
London. That was London.
Make the most of that. Was London, I remember that was in the bar. Try and make the most of inviting people to dinner, because like if you can plan dinners in, and if you can like try and get yourself invited to the after parties, those are the bits where you really make friends. I find like the day bits are good and they're great, and you meet colleagues where there's the potential to build that relationship. But I do find if you get pissed with somebody, that relationship speeds up quite a lot faster. And so I've got a tentative dinner booked on the Tuesday. I've got a planned dinner on the Wednesday. So I feel a little bit better about next week. But anyway, so I think those are probably my big ones: water, comfortable shoes, plan ahead, try and book in coffees, take a notebook and pen, like just in case your phone breaks. You want a way to be able to exchange numbers with people. I don't really think business cards are that important anymore, but equally, handing somebody something that then they find in the bottom of their bag is still useful, because if I put loads of stuff in my phone, I'll forget to look at it sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like the era of business cards is kind of dead, but also sort of not at these events, because
It's,
you know,
yeah.
you do sort of, well, I go back and look at through what cards I've picked up and stuff, but I don't think they're essential, you know, anymore.
I don't think I contacted anyone on any of the business cards I was given at any of the events I've been to.
Oh, interesting.
Again,
I have.
they went, oh, nice.
Yeah.
There was one guy, but yeah, out of the conferences I've been to, I'll also add as well, like something that I definitely found over those conferences, because I think there's a lot of emphasis on network and talk to lots of people. If you find people that you click with, that you resonate with, that, you know, there's that gut kind of connection, do also follow that, because I remember at London meeting Nat, ND Roberts, just kind of in chats, and we got on very, very well, chatted to other people, but we kept coming back and just having these chats, and we got to a point where, like, we've not collaborated directly on a book, but we've got like universes that sync with other stuff that we've done. And when I was in Edinburgh, again, I kind of went through the effort of meeting lots of people, but then I sat and just ended up spending the last like day and a half talking to Martha Carr, because we just got on very, very well. And rather than going to all the big dinners, me and Martha would then go for like coffee drinks and stuff. And it was just like, sometimes it's really nice to meet lots of people and to jump around and obviously like network and things. But if you do find someone that you click with, that you resonate with, like, do feel free to pursue that, because like you make lifelong friends out of it, and you know it will infinitely help you.
It's like the most. Do you have Relator?
Maybe.
I'm gonna have
Harmony.
to check. I know you have Harmony, but I wonder. No, you don't have Relator. That's so interesting. That's like the most Relator thing you could say. Anyway.
There you go. Well, another question I'll ask on the back of this one then is, has your approach changed since earlier on in your career against now, where you're a bit more well-known and are going to be more recognizable to people in the space?
Yeah, definitely.
I
the last London Book Fair I went to, a few people came up and was like, "Oh, you're Sacha," and I was like, "Yes, I am." Like, and that was
weird.
It was brilliant fun. My SIG loved it. I won't lie, I loved it. But also I was like, I don't know, I shat my pants a bit as well. I loved it, but also I was like surprised, and it was unexpected. So I would say I build in more. So I will tell you this afterwards. Yeah, like I build in more. I build in more breaks, like brain breaks, and I build in more. Like I definitely intentionally book more things, because then I get the space to. And like it's not like, you know, I'm not that well known, but I think when you go to somewhere where there are a lot of writers, and you have published a lot of books and put a lot of content out into the writing world, people do know who you are. So I would just say the only thing that I have done is that I have got a bit more strategic with my time. So there are less networking gaps, I would say.
Yeah. To which I translate to boundaries.
Yeah.
You put in a lot more hard boundaries. And again, I think
but then also I do allow that time, right? Because I want to meet people too. And I like, if people know who I am and they want to come say hello, I want to give them a fucking hug, and I want to say hello, and I want to be like, hi, you know, but also that's draining for me, right? But I love it, but it's draining. So like, I just basically book in that time, because like, so for example, I'm meeting Scott. So I'm meeting Scott next week. I'm shitting my pants, absolutely shitting my pants.
He is pretty terrifying.
As people terrifying. Go. Yeah, no. Especially after his fucking. Oh man, I want to change my thing of the week that I enjoyed. I want to change the thing of the week that I enjoyed. Scott fucking Williamson, right?
Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah. Fucking Scott. Okay, so long time ago. No, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to talk about this because we're recording back to back, aren't we? So this is going to be my thing for the next episode. No, I'm not talking about it this one. I'll keep going back. Anyway, yeah. So I'm meeting Scott, and I'm actually terrified, like completely terrified. And I don't know. I'm shitting my pants. Also, I'm meeting Helen. I was shitting myself over that. So she's one of my patrons. She's absolutely adorable, and I'm shitting my pants. So,
why?
Yeah.
You know these people.
Oh, I'm sick. Can we stop talking about this? I need to stop talking about this. I'm gonna, otherwise I'm not going. Yeah, I just I don't know. Meeting new people, it's scary. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, what if I go blank in my brain? What if I can't think of anything to say? What if I run out of questions in my brain?
Scott's Scottish. She'll keep talking.
Oh, that's the other thing I was going to say. Prepare questions. If you're not very good on the spot, prepare questions. So, like, for example, this only works for new people, right? I can't do this with Scott and Helen because I know them. But like, questions for writers, icebreakers. So, like, you can always ask what genre they write in. What do you write? How many books have you written? What's your writing process? Right. Mm-hmm. So, like, there are, have you published any books? Do you want to write full time? Are you hybrid? Are you trad? Are you indie? There are so many questions. Use our podcast, right? Go back and look at all our podcast questions and use our podcast. If you need questions, use our podcast questions. But yeah, like, preparing questions is a thing that I do. Like, I don't have like a list. Well, I do have a list, but I don't have a list that I like to get out and look at. But like, having prepared that list of questions before I go keeps me thinking. And usually I only need it to like break the ice. But I am a very nervous, anxious person.
It's quite funny, actually. Like,
that people think because I'm so like on the show,
you're comfortable
or
with someone.
Yeah, that I'm comfortable. I'm not. I'm absolutely
that's
terrified.
Why like this podcast was so rare when it started, because we really didn't know each other. Not well.
I don't know how this podcast happened. How did you persuade me to do this?
Honestly, it took no convincing.
Oh, I just don't know how. Just like, this is it. I don't know how it happened.
But this is again when without going on a whole different tangent, a whole different conversation, because we kind of covered some of this, but like in collaborations, when people are like, how do you find a collaborator? It's like, honestly, just go for the most organic one that you can find.
Yeah.
Like, the more you try and push something to happen, the more strained it will be.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. All right, I'm going to draw it to a close because we are going to record another one back to back. So audience question of the week is, how do you make the most of in-person events? And
just one more. Get your level ups, not your level ups, your quarterly challenge results over on the Facebook group. We'll be putting up a post. Make yourself accountable. We'll have to talk about them sort of in mid-February just because of the schedule, but we'll have all the information on what's going on for the next quarter as well.
All right. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Activated Authors podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
Next Level
authors.
Oh, I have nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Shocked.
Other than the question. I've got the question. Dan.
Hello.
What episode is it?
105.
It was good for a while, wasn't it? It was good for a while, whilst I remembered the episode.
That 1 week. That 1 week.
I think there was at least 3 weeks when I remember.
That 1 week you got it.